Box with another episode of the Witch's BookTube, and today we're going to be talking about a book called Sigils, Ciphers, and Scripts. It's by M.B. Jackson. It's a very thin book. It came to me from a recommendation, and it took me about, I don't know, a couple hours to read, maybe. It's an interesting book because it's really a great reference for the different types of occultic symbols throughout history, and it covers each one, defines it, tells you what the magical context was, where it is in the terms of history, where it came in terms of history. And let me read you really quickly a little bit from the table of contents so that you know some of what is in this book. It talks about different symbols like schema symbols, astrograms, ideography, Chaldean and Hebrew Kabbalah, Arabic Kabbalah, Jewish Kabbalah, isosophy, geomantic characters, alchemical glyphs, hermetic ciphers, Enochian alphabet, Masonic ciphers, magic squares, angelic and demonic sigils, sigil ciphers, planetary chimera, spirit seals and planetary pentacles, amulets and talismans, and on and on and on. So it covers a lot, even though, again, it's a super thin book, but the format is a really simple one, which I enjoyed it because it feels like a Cliff Note version of occultic symbols. So let me just show you what I mean. Each section is literally just a page of content, and then it's such a big book, and then a page of samples symbols that were used during that time in terms of the history discussed on the prior page. So I will show you a couple of other pages. Here is schema, right? All of this writing here, and then the symbols here. I also enjoyed it because I'm doing a bit of sigil magic of my own in the last few weeks, and it kind of gives your eye, your brain more symbol language. You know what I'm saying? So that you kind of become really habituated, I think sometimes, at least I do, in the way I create sigils. And so this kind of refreshed my mind and gave me other ideas as to how to make marks. So I enjoyed that part of the book, and it goes on for pages and pages. So here's ideography, and explains the different types of symbols. Alchemical glyphs, which a lot of us are very familiar with, but it's great to see them all on one page. Masonic ciphers, some people are very interested in that. So it has a lot of information. It doesn't go into extreme depth, but it gives you an overview, which I find is great if you use this book as a reference point to jump off into deeper study. It's a great outline to work from, so that if you really love this information and you're really interested in the history, it's a great reference book so that you can have it all here in one list. I don't know that it's comprehensive, but it feels pretty extensive. And then you can go deeper into each of these topics. It is not a book that will tell you how to use these symbols. It is not a book intended to advance your magical practices at all. So if that's the kind of book that you're interested in, this is not the book for you. I recommend it for those of you who are interested in just this kind of meaty academic information for the sake of learning. It's great for that. Here's another page of symbols that I thought were really fascinating. This is angelic and demonic sigils, and then other sigil ciphers. So really interesting. It was an interesting book. The one thing that I found interesting but disappointing, just because I love to read about authors' bios, is that I can't find a bio for this guy anywhere. His name is M.B. Jackson or Mark Jackson. If you go on Amazon, you find a book listing, and then underneath the title the author's name is a link so that you can read more about the author. There was no bio there, but when you click on his name, 4 books come up. This one, and then 3 other books that are on diet, which felt a little off. So it may very well be that the information on Amazon is incorrect. There is a Mark Jackson out there who is a writer, but not this writer. I went to the publisher's website, and the book is listed there, but there's no bio for the writer. So I have no idea. I have no idea about this guy. I don't know where he came from, what he is, what he does, what he studies. There's no bio for him here in the book. At the back of the book, though, is a list, not a long one, but a list for further reading, which I found interesting as well. So there's that. I will link to the book below. I will try to find the author a little bit more. I will do a little bit more of a search, but I thought my search was pretty extensive and I couldn't find anything about that. So if anyone knows about the writer, please comment down below and let me know. Also, if you've read this book and have any thoughts, let me know. I'd love to hear them. And if you are interested in this kind of information and want to buy this book, let me know as well, because most of you really want books that guide you in your spiritual practice. This is not that book. but it is really interesting information. It talks about the runic oracle. I just wanted to show this to you because as I'm moving through the book, these pages are coming up, and then here are all the samples and visuals, which I thought were great. So do I recommend it? I recommend it for those of you who just love this kind of information in history and want to dive deeper into it as just your own personal study, for sure. I do not recommend it for those of you who are looking for books that help you deepen your practice. It's not that book, but I will link to it below. It was an easy read, great for references in your library if this is something that really turns you on. It's information that you really like to dive into. Perfect. Other than that, that's it. It's a short and sweet one today. I've got 2 more books that I'm trying to work through because I'd love to give you 2 book reviews next week, but my ambitious plans, you know, are ambitious plans. So there you go. I hope that you guys all have a wonderful week. I think when this airs, it'll already have been the first week of spring. So I hope that your spring entered into your lives in a way that was sweet and fertile and ripe with possibilities, and that it continues to be so. So have a wonderful week. I will talk to you soon. Take care.